It's roughly 6 a.m. when a squadron of Israeli fighter jets takes off, loaded with long-range, high-precision missiles. 2 hours and 5 minutes later, those very missiles strike a government compound in the heart of Tehran. This strike marks the sharpest escalation in a conflict dating back to 1979. Following the overthrow of an American-backed monarchy, the new Islamic Republic labeled both the U.S. and Israel as primary strategic adversaries. Over the following decades, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei solidified this stance, expanding Iran's network of regional militias and overseeing a nuclear enrichment program that repeatedly drew international sanctions. By 2025, however, the regime faced a different kind of threat. The Iranian economy had effectively collapsed as everyday food prices soared and the national currency plummeted. Mass demonstrations erupted across the country. The government responded by cutting the country's internet for days, sealing the borders to information. By the time the blackout ended, 50,000 people had been arrested and thousands of civilians were reported dead. This internal chaos provided an opening for the CIA. By tracking the supreme leader's movements while the regime was under domestic pressure, intelligence officers were able to map his exact location for a high-level security meeting. With the Iranian leadership focused on internal survival, U.S. and Israeli planners moved to convert this period of domestic distraction into a moment for a decisive decapitation strike. The opening salvo lasted just 30 seconds. It successfully eliminated 30 senior officials, including the supreme leader, the IRGC commander, and the defense minister. Following the initial strike, Israel deployed roughly 200 fighter jets into Iranian airspace. Their objective was to dismantle air defenses and destroy as many mobile missile launchers as possible. The United States joined the operation 30 minutes later. American warships launched Tomahawk cruise missiles at military targets in eastern Iran, while ground forces utilized artillery rocket systems. Amid the heavy bombardment, an airstrike hit an elementary school in Minab. Iranian state media reported at least 175 deaths, prompting U.S. Central Command to open an investigation into the strike. Although the top tier of leadership was gone, the expected collapse of the Iranian state did not happen. Instead, the surviving provisional government immediately mobilized for a full-scale retaliatory campaign. Within hours, Iran launched Operation True Promise 4, a multi-front retaliatory campaign that spread across the entire region. More than 200 ballistic missiles were launched directly from Iran at targets inside Israel. In the Red Sea, Houthi forces in Yemen ended a months-long pause in hostilities, resuming drone and missile attacks on international shipping lanes. The reach of the conflict expanded further as Iranian drones struck Dubai International Airport. Debris from intercepted missiles caused fires at several luxury hotels, effectively closing the UAE's airspace. In Bahrain, Iranian drones and missiles targeted the U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet headquarters, with one drone striking a tower block just 20 minutes from the facility. From Qatar to Kuwait, ballistic fire and drone debris hit military bases and passenger terminals. In Syria, falling missile debris killing at least 4 civilians. The decapitation strike, intended to neutralize a single threat, instead triggered a regional war involving at least 7 different nations. U.S. and Israeli officials justified the operation as a defensive necessity, arguing the strike was required to eliminate imminent threats to troops and territories. However, U.S. intelligence reports indicated that Iran was still years away from obtaining a nuclear weapon, casting doubt on the imminence of the threat. Furthermore, Iran's ballistic missile arsenal had an estimated maximum range of 3,000 kilometers. While allowing Iran to reach its neighbors, it remains thousands of miles short of the United States, complicating the argument that the regime posed an immediate danger to the homeland. Striking an adversary because they are temporarily weak, rather than because they are about to attack, is defined under international law as a war of choice. In Washington, this has sparked a constitutional crisis over the president's decision to bypass Congress. The economic fallout was immediate. Oil prices have surged as the closure of the Strait of Hormuz threatens a global energy crisis. The attempt to surgically end a rivalry through a preemptive strike resulted in a multi-front war, a global energy crisis, and a domestic constitutional standoff, a series of consequences that a preventive strike